new journal and guide. Subscribe today.
Thank you. Mr. Malone, you've had the opportunity to work both in the public sector and the private sector and have a very distinguished background. What suggestions would you have for those that are here in terms of positioning themselves?
I think the mayor is absolutely right. I think that at the undergraduate level, because I had no idea that I was going to be in public administration, but I'm also a lawyer and with a master's in foreign services. When I started out, I actually ran ops in the Central Intelligence Agency. I had, Georgetown Law and whatnot, never thinking at 1 minute at any time that I'd be sitting here. So I would also add that it is really important to volunteer, but also pay attention to people who you think are doing a great job. I was fortunate, and I have to say this, I was blessed to have sat at the feet and worked at the feet of Coleman Alexander Young. He taught me well. And I had some really great mentors. And so having that and then working for a guy when I was the Deputy General Counsel of Ameritech, going into the private sector, a guy named Bill Vidito, and watching how he ran a corporation, bottom line. So then coming out to Washington and evolving to become the deputy mayor and leaving, I always tried to take something from the best of the best, from the people who I actually admired and whatnot. And so my perspective about government and whatnot, as well as the private sector, I think you have to have both. I think you have to aspire to look at those people who do well, captains of industry, even those or individuals who run small CDCs. I think you can, development corporations who, I learned a lot from, I administered funds to them, but I learned a lot from people who ran CDCs in tough neighborhoods and neighborhoods that have evolved, and now people want to forget that they were there when it was hard to do, when they were taking those CDBG funds and leveraging all those subsidies to attract private investment. They were doing that then, and business didn't respect them enough to know that's what they were doing, and they were doing it with straw. They weren't doing it when it was tough. So now when you go on the 14th Street in DC, or you look at Columbia Heights, see, I remember that was started by people who were running community development corporations. So what I would say to you is that you would take, in public administration, there's a broad spectrum that you need to look at people that you admire, who've actually done some things, you've seen people who take public funding and treat it like it's private funding and strategically invest it back into the community. And how all of these things then raise up a community. And of course they raise it up to the point that at some point the values change and whatnot. And then you have to figure out, how do I keep the people who live through the tough time still in the neighborhood? So there are different models out here to look at. So I would agree with the mayor, do what you want to do and enjoy it in undergrad. Because I tell you, when you get past that, I told my daughter, I said, you enjoyed that Duke experience. I said, because being grown is a highly overrated experience. Be grown without the consequences of being grown. But enjoy that, and then look at people who you admire who are doing great things in the field which you might be interested in.
This production has been brought to you by Image Entertainment.